DNA evidence that comes into the laboratory is processed here at our state police laboratory in Meridian. When we process samples, then we can process them very quickly. It could be 24 hours, 48 hours. It just depends on the complexity of the evidence itself, how much examination is required, and also depends on how much time it is to look at the data and do the data analysis. We only employ scientists here that work for us at the State Police Forensics, and those scientists are highly trained to be able to do that analysis, so it can take some time. And then we also technically review, we have a second person look at everything that's done in the laboratory. Again, that process can just take some time. We have to worry about all the documentation that needs to happen here in the laboratory for things to be prosecuted, defended, working through the court process. That all takes time to develop the level of documentation, both photographs, notes, all of those things will be needed for the process. So we take longer, we take our time, we make sure that we're doing a very thorough job of the analysis. Not everything that's collected at a scene might come into the laboratory, not everything at the scene is collected. The crime scene responders are highly trained to determine what samples need to be collected, what evidence needs to be collected at the scene. The evidence that's collected is then submitted to the law enforcement agency. The law enforcement agency works in conjunction with us to determine what things need to be tested at the laboratory and in what order and in what time frame. So it's a very active dialogue between us and the investigators. First, looking for things that would identify a potential perpetrator of a crime. Second, to help the investigators investigate the crime. And then finally, to be able to take these things to court, things that the prosecution might need, things that the defense attorney might need to be able to work this through the court system. So latent prints, basically they are fingerprints that you can't see. We will use different techniques to affix them to the surface and then make them visible by using either a powder of some sort or a dye stain or something of that nature. Then we will image those to be able to bring it up to an electronic comparison with known prints from individuals that we take their fingerprints directly from their fingers. We do the comparisons on screen, known prints to latent prints that we might collect at a crime scene. After the comparisons, we might put them in a database of individuals that have provided their fingerprints based on criminal arrest or upon a conviction from a crime. So we have about 66,000 DNA samples that are collected from convicted offenders in our state, convicted felons. When they are convicted of a felony, they provide a DNA sample to us. We DNA type that sample and put that DNA type into our state database and also into a national database that can be compared against all crimes that might happen in the United States.